Hello you guys, it's your girl Asia from Red Cycle Channel. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to me talking about another Degrassi topic. Another Degrassi topic I want to talk about is from Degrassi Next Class. I want to talk about Miles' drug addiction storyline and how much I absolutely loved it. I feel like Miles being that main character in season 1 to have that, important storyline was definitely the greatest choice they could have made. Because I feel like Miles and Maya were definitely the most captivating characters. In Next Class, they had the most character development, they had the most interesting storylines, and I just feel like, you know what, give your characters who can act and tell good stories all the storylines, and whatever the other ones are doing, let them do what they're doing. Because I feel like all the other characters were either surface level or, like I said, they suffer for not having character development. That the storylines they would give them, they were very surface level, they weren't good, so it just wasn't much you can do with them. I will say the best, the main 3 characters in the Degrassi Next Class who had the most storylines were Miles and Maya and Zoe, and they all were captivating in their own way. But I definitely feel like Miles and Maya were definitely the most captivating because, like I said, they were very complex, and at this point, Maya's been here since season 11, so you didn't have time to see her character grow from being that little ass kid to becoming a full grown woman. Same thing with Miles. Miles definitely matured. He had some of the best character development on the show. He is not the same character he was many years ago. He has changed, and to see what his character was in season 13 and 14, and just to see how it became in Degrassi Next Class, he had like a character change completely 180, and I love that about his character a lot. Like Miles, from season 13, he was not the same character he was when the show ended. Like he got into college, he was going off to Europe to capitalize on his writing. Like he became a whole different person, and I love that. It was really good to see. But his drug addiction storyline was something I really enjoyed. He was being enabled, of course. Esme enabled Miles to do drugs. She was giving him drugs. So Miles had anxiety. From what I remember, he had anxiety whenever he was around his father. He could not be around his dad without catching anxiety and felt like he couldn't breathe. The mom wanted to bring the father back into all the kids' lives after he literally abused their child, and she thought Miles should be okay with it even though the father abused him. I feel like Miles' parents are completely trash. They're just horrible. The dad wasn't shit, and the mom was horrible because whenever Miles told her something, she automatically put the blame on him and never ever allowed her husband to hold any accountability. It don't matter what your child do, what they say, how much they rebel against your authority, or how disrespectful they are. You don't get the right to hit your child. That'll give you the right to smack them in their face or throw them down on the floor and kick them, none of that shit. That's a big no-no. And the mother never believed Miles whenever he opened his mouth and would tell her this shit. She would just say, you're overreacting, that isn't what happened. It's like, you're not listening to me. He hit me. What the fuck? Why would I be making this shit up? How are you going to tell me what the fuck happened? I'm telling you what happened. Like, the fuck? And then you go to the Degrassi Next Class, and she's still horrible. She's still a shitty parent. She ain't no good parent. Like, your husband abused your child. So just because he's going to anger management classes, that don't make up for any of the shit that he did, all the pain he caused, all the shit he put your family through, all your children through. It don't make up for any of that shit. Not one bit. It doesn't matter if he's trying to redestruct his life. Miles wanted to love his father from a distance. He wanted nothing to do with him. I am one of those people who feel like, why was Miles and his dad's storyline such a pause? Because the moment where Miles' dad said he was proud of him, it should have felt more emotional. Like, it would have been nice if Eric Osborne's character cried, or it would have been nice if Eric Osborne and his dad had a scene where, Miles is breaking down and telling his father that his entire life he worked so hard to get his validation and love, and he did things that he shouldn't have to as a kid or as a son or as a child to get his father's love, and to know he'll never get it is something that keeps him up at night because it makes him feel like, is he a bad kid, or is his dad just a bad father? Like, it would have been nice how we got an emotional moment like that in the rest of that class, but instead they didn't give us that, and they just put the dad back into the house, and that was kind of it, which is always something that kind of fucking bothered me and bugged me a little bit, because it's like, what the fuck is with the writing? But regardless of that, in season 14, we did get moments where he would scream his father's head off when he told him that, he manipulated him into thinking that he actually wanted to build a relationship, and that, season 14, there also was another moment where, he told his dad he needs to leave the house because, he's just a toxic authority figure, and that when they don't act accordingly, he used them like puppets and shit like that. So there was moments where he did have those things with his dad that I did like, but in the Degrassi Next class, it would have been nice to see those moments still be there, where him still like not fully accepting his father back into his life, and them having that emotional moment where Miles is breaking down, his father, just come in and give him that love that he feel like he's been missing, to where now they can start rebuilding their relationship. But you know what? The Degrassi Next class didn't do that, which is like, okay, whatever, but have been nice if they done that. But Miles' real storyline was actually a storyline I actually did like. Like, his acting was phenomenal. The acting with his mom in the hospital was probably one of the best acting scenes Eric Osborne has ever done in a show, where, that he told his mom that he's just depressed. He can't get out of bed anymore, and that the pills are making him better, and the doctor's telling him that, his leg shaking is a withdrawal for more drugs. If he takes too many, he'll have an overdose and maybe he'll die. And, mom said he just can't stop, and the mom, reached in and gave him a hug and said they need to get him better. And I like that. Esme kind of reminded me of Jay from the Degrassi Next class. She was always doing shit to get people in trouble, whether it was Miles or Zig or Frankie. Like, she just was this bad influence on people. I understand she didn't want to be alone, but nothing in this world would make me want to enable my friend to take pills to deal with their anxiety, because they cannot deal with it head on. I'm being a neighbor at this point. I'm not a good friend. She faked self-harming herself so she could get Miles' attention, and it just shows something ain't right with her. She needed help, for real. Like, she needed deeply, deeply help. But Miles' drug addiction storyline was actually good. Like I said, for that to be like the first important storyline they were doing in that season, to show, like, they did that storyline, and it made me feel like, okay, maybe this is going to be like the Degrassi Next class. We're going to go back to doing important storylines, go back to doing dramatic storylines, and that didn't happen. That was like their only, like, no. In season 1, they had the Zoe storyline as well, and then season 2 was mainly her storyline, with her self-harming herself, hurting herself, and things like that. So they did have other storylines, but it's like at the same time, still everything was relationship based. Who's dating who's sleeping with who, and it would have been nice had it not just been all about that. But for what Mom's storyline was, it definitely was good. Like, his mom is stupid. Like, the very first time Miles was high and he was on drugs, and Winston told her, okay, she took the drugs out of Miles' room, right, and flushed him down the toilet. But it's the point to where it's like, okay, he just told you where he was hiding the pills. Winston told you that he's been taking drugs, so why the fuck did you not put him in rehab? Why did you feel like he wasn't going to do him anymore once you flushed him down the toilet? What? His mom is stupid. One of the things I really like from his drug addiction storyline is when he was having a panic attack, when he flushed all the pills because he didn't want to take them anymore. But it's not that easy when you get rid of drugs and you've been taking them. They're in your system, to where now your body is kind of used to you taking drugs. It's a withdrawal. So when he flushed him down the toilet, he was having a panic attack where he couldn't catch his breath. He called Esme, and she told him that he had to breathe through his belly. Like, his acting in that scene was so fucking good, and I think she came over and gave him drugs. So when that moment happened, when it wasn't just something he could just quit, that's when she started enabling him even more with drugs. So that was a really good scene. I like that. Miles, he did his thing. Miles is one of my favorite characters in Degrassi. he reminded me a lot of Craig. You know, just always having good storylines, always having good dramatic roles, always doing amazing, fantastic, over-the-top acting when it counts, and just always doing his big one. Like, he is definitely one of the greatest characters to ever walk in Degrassi, and I feel like had he not came in season 13, what the fuck would that season have been? Because his character alone definitely changed the landscape for the show completely. Because there were characters who came in Degrassi and didn't do shit, but he is definitely a character who came in and just off top had amazing storylines, off top did good acting. Like, I liked his character from the jump, so yes. I'm a Miles fan. I'm a Miles Hollingsworth girl. I love him. I love his acting. And that's all we gotta say for this for real. I just want to go down here and talk about how, you know, Degrassi Next Class don't have a lot of bad storylines. They do got some good ones, but got a whole lot of them. And for the most part, ugh, my allergies. They do got some good storylines, but for the most part, not all of them are good. Excuse me. For the most part, all of them are still. For the most part, some of the some of the storylines are still relationship based. Ooh, but they had some good storylines, but you know, they didn't have a whole lot of them. But as always, it's nice talking to y'all. Catch you guys in my next video.